Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, please make sure to consider hitting that like, hitting that share, hitting that subscribe, and smashing that notification. So I just came across a video CNN put out saying that Kevin McCarthy has a warning for Donald Trump. Who is Kevin McCarthy to give anybody a warning? This dude is one of the most worthless politicians. He's a rhino. He's for all these wars, funding all these wars, and he's just a terrible human being. And rightfully so, he is now leaving politics, which he shouldn't be in it in the first place. This dude is all about himself. He is literally about nothing, and that's why we ousted him. But without further ado, let's get into this video.
Your question is, just give up and quit. I'm the wrong guy to ask that.
No, you're not. You gave up and quit. You left. You're leaving. Goodbye. Rightfully so. See you later, bucko.
That question to. I never quit.
What a difference a few months makes. Kevin McCarthy was the most powerful Republican in Washington.
You see how the liberal media tries to spin it? He was not the most powerful politician of the Republican Party. That is a complete and utter lie. You see how they try and spin things, though? They make it seem like the party's weaker now. No, we're stronger now without this dude.
Less than 3 months ago. Now, in just a matter of a couple weeks, he will no longer be a member of Congress, resigning his seat after 17 years in the House.
I'm surprised the type of person he is that he made it that long, but I know how evil and corrupted politics are. So, you know, it's no surprise, in all honesty. No surprise at all.
A rapid rise to the GOP leadership, and then a tumultuous year as Speaker, leading a razor-thin...
I feel like that's putting it lightly. He was a terrible speaker. Terrible, terrible, terrible speaker.
Majority in a badly divided conference. Now, as Speaker and Republican leader, he was very chatty with the press, and sometimes quite combative, as I witnessed firsthand.
The votes just aren't there. Why has it been so hard for you?
Have you spent any time with my conference? But I mean, you know what's amazing to me? Here we are with one of the biggest things going on spending, and I can always count on you for the most inappropriate question. Why don't you ask the other questions? Why don't you want to ask? No, you don't.
That's funny. It's funny that he's trying to act like he's like this big, bad man, but he's nothing. He's weak, frail.
You never change your position.
I never changed my position. You don't.
12 days ago.
You know what's interesting to me?
You supported the Texas lawsuit too. Do you regret supporting that lawsuit that would have been validated?
No, I don't. You know why? Because it's going to the
results in
court.
a number of battleground states.
All right, tell me when you're done with your questions and when I can answer.
What does it do to the 18 members from Biden districts?
Well, that all the Democrats voted to try to bring chaos? I think.
No, I mean that you guys can't govern. That you can't govern.
And
I mean, it's true. The dude was weak. He can't do anything. That's why we got rid of him. Literally why we got rid of him, because he was weak and pathetic.
of course, that was
He might as well have just been a demon rat.
after he was ousted as Speaker, and they were struggling to get someone, eventually Mike Johnson, to become Speaker. Wow, that was just, it's amazing.
I honestly would have pushed for Matt Gaetz to be Speaker. That's just me, but I would have pushed for Matt Gaetz. I really wanted Jim Jordan, but hey, Johnson seems like a good dude so far. We'll see. I know he's been releasing the January 6th tapes. I don't know if he's for funding the wars. I really hope not. I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more.
This has all happened in the last couple of months. Just, Mariana, you walked the halls with me on the Hill. You're on the House side talking to a lot of the members. What impact does his departure have on the House, and how are members dealing with this aftermath?
Yeah, I think his impact will be felt so much more outside of the halls.
I never understood why CNN even covers these things in like an actual aspect instead of just mocking it and lying about it, which they're probably going to do. I haven't watched this video yet, so we're watching this together. They're probably going to just lie about everything anyway. But it's really weird to me to see them like try and cover this. Like, go cover something on the Democratic side
Of the House rather than inside. And the reason why is because everyone says his one thing that he has been excellent at, and there is proof, even though, he won the majority. It was way, way, way more narrow than even he expected. But still, he has such a grasp politically on the campaign trail.
Mm-hmm. No, he doesn't. The dude is completely delusional. This is a lie. More liberal media lies.
Who should I recruit? Who makes sense in a district? Who can actually get there? And even tried...
No. He was about who can I get paid from, and that's it.
to play this last year trying to oust some of these more extreme Republicans who just didn't want to govern. So that is going to be the big impact.
It's funny how they call them extreme Republicans. Okay. Why? Because they don't fall into your narrative? Okay.
Not to mention the fact fundraising.
Yeah.
My God. That is the first thing that House Republicans would say was, now what do we do?
Yeah, and look, Mike Johnson's trying to fill that void. The challenge is, can he do that? But you're right.
Mike Johnson is a far better speaker than Kevin McCarthy could even sniff about Ron Bean. Get out of here.
Knew how to, he got the Republicans back to the majority, to his credit. Not as big of a majority as he wanted, which is why he ultimately got pushed out by the people who didn't want him there. And there's still this anger about all this. Yes, it happened a couple of months ago. And yes, there's a new Speaker of the House. But I spent the last week talking to a lot of those Republicans who are allied with Kevin McCarthy. They're not happy about the aftermath. What do you say to the 8 Republicans who voted him out?
Big screw up.
Yeah, he's a California Republican. Go figure.
Completely inane behavior.
It's a great loss to the Republican Party.
No, it's not.
And to the House in general, and a personal loss for me. And
why? Because you got paid with him? He was your buddy, so it's a personal loss to you? That's terrible. It should be all about the country, bucko.
Am I upset with the 8 Republicans that joined all the Democrats to remove him? Yeah, absolutely. I'm upset with them.
We all know that the Democrats removed him, but those 8 Republicans removed him for a reason. Because he was not doing his job. He did not stick true to his word. You need to understand that. It has nothing to do with anything besides not sticking true to your word. When you give your word is gold. And as soon as you don't stick true to your word, I'm sorry, you're broke, basically. You're broke.
First off, for 8 Republicans voting with all the Democrats to oust the most effective.
In all honesty, you guys sided with the Democrats, even though the Democrats only voted him out. The only reason the Democrats voted him out is because he's a Republican. That's it. You guys are actually with them, though, because you tried keeping him.
Republican speaker we've had in a long time.
There's also no regrets among those 8 Republicans.
None at all. I wish I was a Republican in Congress. I would have voted twice if I could have.
I asked Tim Burchett, one of the 8 who voted him out. He said, yeah, well, Kevin McCarthy will go make a lot of money. So, look, this is obviously going to be...
Why does it matter about money? It matters about the American people. It's not about money. It's about the American people and doing what's right for us. You're supposed to work for us. We don't work for you. You're working for us. So as soon as you're doing something that's out of line with what our values go with, you got to go. Flat out. You got to go.
The problem is they head into the election year for the new speaker, managing these divisions and the emotions that are still pretty raw here.
Oh, totally. And I think, and the other big thing is, of course, their completely narrow majority. Now they only have 1 seat. And we saw them struggle when they had 4. And so I think that's going to be a huge issue. And I know from the people that I talk.
Oh, be quiet. Look how the liberal media tries to spin it again. Go ahead.
They recognize they're not going to be able to get anything done, particularly before the elections really, 2024 election cycle really ramps up. And I agree with Mariana's point. I think that as we get closer to the elections, that's really where you're going to see a lot of this impact felt. How will they be able to maintain the majority? Can they grow it? All of these things that people knew McCarthy did very well, that it's unclear.
What did he do well? Can somebody just tell me what he did well? He did nothing well. The dude is a complete rhino, and that's it. He's literally a rhino.
How Johnson will do.
I also think some of the frustrations are because you're seeing the new speaker faced with the same choices Kevin McCarthy was faced with and really unable to do anything differently or better, but not having...
Oh, except release the January 6 tapes? Okay.
Kevin
McCarthy literally could have did that day 1. But all right, let's go. Keep going.
A sort of sword held over his head all the time. So for those members that were McCarthy loyalists, they're like, hey, what difference is there?
They suddenly are agreeing to higher spending levels that McCarthy agreed to. They agreed to have to back off that amid these threats from the right. Now they're okay with that. Johnson had to keep the government open for a short period of time. okay with that, not pushing him out of office. We'll see if that ultimately happens. McCarthy was on CBS this morning talking about Trump. He said that he would support Trump. He told me a couple of weeks ago something very similar. He said he would support Trump. I asked him as an official endorsement. He said we kind of hemmed and hawed about it, but he said he supports Trump. But he also had a bit of a warning for Trump.
What President Trump needs to do in this campaign, it needs to be about rebuilding, restoring, renewing America. It can't be about revenge.
It's not about revenge. You see, he's like a liberal. He is such a liberal. It's not about revenge. It's about what's doing right and righting the wrongs that have been done to us. That's what it's about. If you want to call it revenge, call it revenge. But we call it righting the wrongs.
He's talking about retribution day in, day out.
He needs to stop that.
No, keep it going. We don't listen to people like you, buddy.
He needs to stop that.
Will Trump listen?
No.
Definitely not, especially not to Kevin McCarthy.
Not to no Rhino. Not to anybody. Trump's not listening to anybody. Trump does what he does.
It is interesting, though. I mean, you can tell that Kevin McCarthy is far more candid now, that he doesn't have the weight of the House GOP conference on his back. But no, I mean, Donald Trump, very much, their relationship has become far more tense and strained over the past.
Well, rightfully so, because the dude's been shown his true colors throughout the past 6 years. He's terrible, and rightfully so that he is leaving Congress. Rightfully so.
Several months, is not going to listen to McCarthy.
You know, we talked a little bit about the McCarthy impact, down ticket, how that's going to happen in the House races. I had a chance to talk to actually the chairman of the House GOP campaign committee, Richard Hudson of North Carolina. He's trying to keep the Republican majority despite facing a very difficult map with redistricting and the like, and the prospects of the fact that Kevin McCarthy is no longer there to be that prolific fundraising president.
Why does it come back to money with everything on these people? These are the people, right, that push for socialism. It shouldn't even be about money. You guys shouldn't even be allowed to be making any profit right now. You should be living what you preach, and that's it.
He said he was. Hudson, though, sort of said, he kind of brushed it off and said that they believe they'll be in a strong position because of Donald Trump. Will you guys be able to keep the majority?
Oh, yeah. We're going to grow the majority. No question.
That's a bullish assessment, given the map.
Well, you look at the polling out there. The American people are fed up with Joe Biden and his policies. We won 15 seats. We beat 15 Democrats in 2020 with Trump at the top of the ticket. And
wait till 2024, bucko. We're about to kill it even more.
I think he'll do better this time than they did in 2020.
I mean, is he right about that?
Sorry, malfunction.
I mean, is he right about that?
I don't know.
Ask them, they will say.
Grow the majority?
Ask them, they will say no, right? They don't want to run with Trump. They want to. McCarthy actually in that clip it showed how tactful he is politically, because we saw in the 22 midterms where a lot of those vulnerable members became members of Congress because they were sticking to, this is what we want to build, this is what we want to do, this is how we want to govern. That question of governance, though, really impacted many of those members in October when they literally didn't do anything, couldn't pick a speaker. That's when those members were also hearing, oh my.
Look at the crazed look on her face when she's talking about this. Like, she's so evil that she's like happy about it. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here with that.
God,
this is why it's so hard to watch the news.
We're hearing from our constituents that we can't do anything. This is bad for us. And, bringing that Trump question, especially in places like New York, California, where Trump actually ignites the Democratic base, that's where you're seeing a lot of both Democratic and Republican playbook going through those two states. And Trump, I don't think, is really going to help there.
Mitch McConnell will tell you that it was Donald Trump in 2022 that essentially cost them their chance of the Senate Republican.
That's not true at all, because real Republicans rock with Trump, so that's not true.
Majority. He was on the campaign.
Nobody listens to Mitch McConnell anyway. That dude's a rhino.
Trail late campaigning in some of these swing states. He also propped up some candidates who were weak and sort of flamed out and petered out during the election. But
hey, man, the dude can support who he wants to support. That's on him.
It's a different calculation among the House Republicans, probably because of the fact of the districts that they represent, which are very Trump heavy districts.
I'm not at all surprised to hear the head of the National Republican Congressional Committee make that argument. I mean, what's the argument he's going to make, right? If he can't project confidence about it, who will? It's an argument that some senators, I think, have a sort of better fact basis to make it on, because those voters are looking at statewide races. They may be swingable states, or the states on the map may lean a little more red. In those states, it can be a referendum against Joe Biden. I think in the swing congressional districts, the ones that are really in play, it is going to be a Trump versus Biden contest just as much as.
Nah, it's going to be more Trump than Biden, but we'll see what these liberals do. We'll see what kind of shenanigans they pull this year, or next year, I guess, this election.
Because it is a Biden versus Biden contest.
I mean, absolutely. Well, look, that's the big thing about the House races. Top of the ticket will drive a lot. It'll drive a lot of turnout. It'll impact the House. It'll impact the Senate. We'll see.
That guy's voice is very annoying to me. All their voices are very annoying. You know, these people are a bunch of liars, and they just play into propaganda. So they make things seem worse than they really are, when in all actuality, real Republicans, real conservatives, we wanted Kevin McCarthy out the second he did something wrong. I didn't want him in the first place. If it were up to me, I would have been kicked him out of the Congress years ago, at least 6 years ago. But it's not up to me. It was up to them. They voted. I would have personally rather had Jim Jordan. I couldn't believe that he didn't get in after the second or third one, but it is what it is. We got Mike Johnson. It's not bad. But I would like to know, who is Kevin McCarthy to warn Trump about anything? He's the leading candidate right now to become president, right? He's leading in all the polls. If the presidency were today and we voted today, like no shenanigans, no nothing going on, Trump would win by a landslide. Kevin McCarthy got kicked out of being Speaker of the House. Think about that, right? He got kicked out of becoming Speaker of the House. Who is he to say anything about what anyone should do? It's illogical. It makes no sense. And it's just dumb in my opinion. I don't get it. But you know what? On that note, you guys, we're going to end it. I really appreciate you all stopping by and hanging out with me and checking out this video. If you are new here, or regardless, please make sure to hit that like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, smash the notification. Also, comment down in the comments below. Let me know what kind of video you'd like to see next. If you got something you guys want me to review, I'll review it. Let me know. But have a good one. We'll see you guys later. Peace.